Hey everybody, today Rahdo talks through Dragonfire Character Pack, Heroes of the Sword Coast, which is a neat little expansion for the base game of Dragonfire that basically adds a whole bunch of new character archetypes for you to play with. Well, there's some other stuff too, starting with a full duplicate set of all of the basic stickers that came with the base game. I haven't triple checked this, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing new here. These are just more of the same, so if you want to do some more character leveling or more respecking or whatnot, if you're using the sticker system, it'll be very, very nice to have all of these on hand. Oops, I misspoke there. Actually, while there are duplicates of all of the stickers from the base game, there are also new stickers specifically for the new classes that are available in this little expansion. So those are important too. But that's probably not why you came. What you're really interested in is the new races and the new classes, right? Well, let's zoom in a little bit so you can see them a bit better. Here's a halfling. They're cool, this new type of character, because they're lucky and they're nimble. Lucky, when you fail a skill check, you can reshuffle and try a second time. That's pretty awesome, especially depending on how you build your deck. And nimbleness, even cooler, choose one encounter attacking you during the first round of a scene, and it doesn't hurt you because they're nimble. That's really, really awesome. I mean, in fact, you'd think, well, geez, why would I play anything except for a halfling? They're so powerful. That's because they are an affable race. They start with affable cards instead of some of their basics, and affable is about the weakest starting card there is because it just does one colorless damage. So throwing a couple of these in kind of offsets the fact that you get these really cool special powers. So that's what's new with the halflings. There's a halfling rogue. And let's see, you got rock gnomes, who are particularly cool because they've got a unique starting card, Tinker, which is absolutely awesome. I love this one a lot. Basically, when you put this into play, you put a token on a market card, and eventually when you purchase that market card, its cost is reduced by 1 for every amount of tokens. So if you keep playing your Tinker over and over again on the same market card, it's like you're learning how to build it yourself, and you'll be able to get it much, much cheaper. That's awesome. So rock gnomes are very, very cool for their tinkering ability. And then you've got half-elves, which is interesting. I might be wrong about this, I think one of the characters in the base game was a half-elf, and it pretty much was the duplicate of a human. I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but these half-elves are interesting because they add versatility, which makes the market one bigger when you're playing with them. That's kind of like, what was it, the shopping assistant in Shadowrun Crossfire, which is one of our favorite upgrades, and these half-elves, they just start with it for free. So that's pretty cool. And then you got the tieflings, these, I don't know, demonic type characters who have Infernal Legacy. Although they got to level up to get to it. Once per scene, upon taking damage, discard an arcane card to apply 1 level of damage to that encounter. So these guys are very tough if you get them up to level 3 and they get this cool power. Alrighty, so in addition to new races, there's one other race, the Sun Dwarves, the Gold Dwarves, but there's nothing unique about them. They're kind of like the regular dwarves, just more variation. So there'll be some later in here, but those are the new races with new abilities. Let's talk about the new classes. You've got the Druid. Here's a human one, and another human Druid, and a Wood Elf Druid, which of course has the keen senses like the regular game. But Druids are cool because if there's any Druids in play, some new stuff can appear in the market. Although, here's a forest gnome druid who's a little special because she also starts with color spray, a cool special starting card that only the forest gnome does. But the interesting thing about druids are, if druids are in the game, you could add spike growth as a card that players can buy. And if I recall correctly, I think there's another one in here. There's the Warlock. Oh yeah, a Flame Blade. So there are a bunch of new cards that get added to the market only if there is a Druid player in play. So that's kind of the main thing about them. Although, like I said, the Forest Gnome also starts with Color Spray, which is a neat little power. Then you got Bards. They are unique in that they have the Performance card in their deck. Where's an example of one? Performance. Yeah, you'd think I'd find them. They are a basic card. Oh, here it is. It's a replacement basic card that doesn't do any damage. Basically, what happens instead is if you play this with another basic card, it duplicates that. So if you've got a hand with several different colors of basic, this performance can help you target certain colors. So it's pretty cool in the early game before you filled your deck up with a lot of stuff. But over the course of the game, it becomes a little bit less useful as it might go on. Because you have fewer basic cards that this could duplicate and more other stuff. But on the flip side, these bards generally have smaller hands at the beginning of the game, much like humans in the base game, so that you can get the performance and the performance is that much more likely to give you more flexibility about what it's going to mix with. And then, by the way, here's another rock gnome with that tinker ability again, super awesome. Let's see here, and then a one who has the keen senses because he's an elf. All right, so next you got Rangers, which are another character that if you play them, they add a new card. Spike growth, once again, can be added to the market if there are any Rangers in play, and also Hunter's Mark, which is a very, very cool power. My wife Jen, she has mostly been playing a Ranger. This one specifically because she really likes the look of her, and she loves finding a Hunter's Mark. Basically, lets you treat all levels as colorless. Just absolutely insane. So Hunters, if they get the right cards into play, Rangers, they can be very, very cool. And, there's the new Tiefling type, and there's another Human Ranger, and, a Halfling Ranger. It's got everything, except those darn affables, which is why in a two-player game where you put a blessing in, you definitely replace one of those affables with a blessing, definitely. And let's see. Oh, then we got Warlocks, which is a new type. First of all, Warlocks have not a race ability, but a class ability. Once per game, replace one existing market card with a card from the market deck. So you can shuffle more readily if the market is just not going your way. Having a researcher on board makes things a little bit easier. And then again, there's another type of card that only gets added when, by the way, I forgot to mention also the Encore. If you're playing with bards, I mentioned them already, the Encore card gets added to the market as another thing you can buy as well. Another advantage of having bards. So Hex. Hex is, if there's any Warlock players, Hexes become available if you find them in the market, which is why it's nice to be a researcher because it can make it easier to find stuff. You Hex some bad guy, they must save. Of course, most of the time bad guys fail their saves. They only succeed 25% of the time. And if they fail, any text effect for that encounter is gone. So that can be a very, very big deal. Plus, it's also a nice little assist also. So that's the Warlocks, researching, and those extra things they add. And let's see. Oh, by the way, here's an example of the Gold Dwarf, who is a Warlock with the research ability. And, and then just some more characters who don't really change anything about the base game. They just give you more variety, like a half-orc wizard. A wizard who never gets stunned, crazy. Or a sun elf cleric, or a golden dwarf cleric, or a shield dwarf rogue. Yay, rogue thieves. Moon elf rogues. A shield dwarf fighter, wood elf fighter, forest gnome, color spray. And finally, a wood elf wizard. And that's pretty much it, folks. That is what you get with the Heroes of the Sword Coast for Dragonfire. Not necessary. It's certainly, the base game comes with 16 unique characters, and there's already a lot of cool stuff. You'll get a lot of replayability with them, but having all these extra characters gives you so much flexibility, and some of these powers are absolutely awesome. And particularly, if you're playing a two-player game, those halflings, being able to dump their affable and replace them with blesses, they become super crazy. So, that's what you get, folks, with Heroes of the Sword Coast. Thanks very much for watching. Have a very, very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.